Vegas relies on casino workers, bartenders, cashiers, valet drivers, among many service and hospitality jobs. But automation and artificial intelligence are taking over some of these tasks. So how does a city built on service work adapt? NPR's Deepa Shivaram brings us this report.
Spend just a few hours on the Strip in Las Vegas, and you'll run into machines doing human jobs everywhere. Instead of checking in with the person at the front desk of a hotel, you can do it on a screen. If you go down to the casino, the machines will learn what kind of games you like and suggest more of them. And if you head over to Planet Hollywood, you could be served by a robot bartender.
Hi, Sal. How are you doing?
That's Sabrina Bergman. She works at the Tipsy Robot, and her job is to help the robot bartender do its job. When it accidentally knocks over a cup, she'll fix it. If a drink is only poured halfway, she'll top it off at the bar.
At the beginning, I got a lot of jokes, you're a robot, you know what I mean? At the beginning, now people are used to it,
A second location of Tipsy Robot just opened up in a different hotel on the Strip, but Bergman isn't worried about the robot replacing her.
I don't know. I think we're just whatever.
She says that maybe in 10 years things will start to change, and she's not wrong. Various studies predict that by 2035, automation in Vegas could impact between 38 to 65% of jobs. And in addition to automation, artificial intelligence is becoming more commonplace too. So now, a city that's heavily relied on tourism to keep it afloat is trying to prepare for a drastically changing economy.
The question is, how do you factor in and how do you adapt your economic development strategy to accommodate a world where certain jobs may no longer exist?
That's John Restrepo. He's an economist with the group RCG Economics based in Las Vegas. He says companies have a big incentive to cut certain jobs, like cashiers.
What do companies have to do to increase their margins? And what happens is oftentimes is companies increase their margins by reducing costs. And labor is a big cost.
But in addition to being a service town, Las Vegas is also a union town. The Culinary Union is the largest union in Nevada. Back in 2018, they negotiated protections in their contract that addressed technology and automation. If a company is planning new technology in the workplace, they have to give workers an advance notice, and it's mandatory to provide free training on how to use the technology. Ted Papageorge helped to negotiate that contract 5 years ago. He's now the secretary-treasurer of the union, and he's involved in talks for a new contract. At a rally to show support for workers on the Strip, he says they're prepared to make artificial intelligence an issue to strike over.
Look, we had a huge fight about technology in previous contract. We're going to have the same fight this time around.
But he says it's still early. No one's really sure how much AI could replace jobs and workers. But his priority is making sure that workers have a safety net.
How do our folks make sure that the jobs that remain, that we can work them? And that we're not thrown out like an old shoe. We're not going to stand for that.
Experts say artificial intelligence will affect different types of jobs in different ways. Some jobs will be wiped out. Some will require retraining. And in some cases, it could help make workers more productive. And then there's the brand new jobs that AI could create that don't even exist yet. In Las Vegas, city officials know they have to start preparing for whatever changes are coming right now. And that starts with getting the community familiar with AI in the first place.
Hey, take care, man. Yeah.
At the Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce, local business owners, teachers, and entrepreneurs have gathered to find out how AI can be used in their lives. Tony Yee is at this panel. He owns a small moving company in Las Vegas, and he's looking to learn about AI so he can grow his business.
I'm really intrigued with AI, and I know it's the next frontier. So it's just like how people didn't believe in the internet back in the 90s. This is the next revolution, and if you're not on board, then you're going to be left behind. That's just and I don't want to be left behind.
Eventually, Tony wants to be able to use AI to essentially function as his HR department, to handle things like evaluations from customers, a job that previously he'd have to hire another person to do. Deepa Shivaram, NPR News, Las Vegas.
There you go. Hey, shalom, shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. News in the gospel abroad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is just a quick lesson through the spirit. It says robot are pouring drinks in Vegas as AI grows, the city workers brace for change. As we know that a lot of these big tech companies have been laying off due to the fact that they've been replaced by their own creation, which is AI, artificial intelligence, which that's pretty much Esau's God. Okay, that's his whole new paradigm of belief system. Okay, which is part of this fourth industrial revolution, which is this modern day beast system. All right, spearheaded through the whore, which is Babylon the Great America, through the revival of the Roman Empire. Okay, which is this beast structure. Now, when you look at these pictures here, it says Culinary Union Secretary Treasurer Ted Papa George speaks during a rally along Las Vegas Strip in August. Said the union is ready to strike over AI if necessary. Because in their mindset, they're like, well, look, if you have man replacing machine, machine replacing man, for the simple fact, then if you have a machine placing man, then what do we need to work for? You know, because what store was I in yesterday? I went to some store. Trying to recall, man, yesterday. Where the hell did I go? I know I went to some store, man, and it was pretty much like a lot of AI shit in there, man. You know, like of course you had workers, but just the design of the store, it shows you that they thing for workers is pretty much non-existent. You know, like when you go to a lot of fast food restaurants like McDonald's or, you know, Wendy's or Burger Kings and stuff like that, they have what they call kiosks set up. Even at Walmart's, they have like those robots or those automatronic robots that come through and scan the aisles, and sometimes they do inventories. And of course, you know, because computers are not perfect, oftentimes you do have a human counterpart that will come and cross-reference and check behind the works of the machine to make sure it's accurate, because, you know, those machines do in fact make mistakes. But overall, man, this is the future. You know, AI, artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, all these things are playing directly into the hands of this coming micro C-HIP, which a lot of you guys out there, you still are straddling the fence. All right. So starting down here, it says the Culinary Union is prepared to strike over AI. It says unions in Las Vegas are closely watching the changes, but the largest union in Nevada, the Culinary Union, represents 60,000 service and hospitality workers in Las Vegas or Reno. And the reason why this is the biggest union in Vegas is because basically it's all dealing with hospitality. Okay, like when you go down to Vegas Strip, you have nothing but restaurants and hotels and casinos. So that's how they make a lot of their money outside of gambling, of course, which is the biggest profiteering to the Strip of Vegas. But culinary, okay, culinary is one of the biggest grossing industries in America, man. All right. As a matter of fact, let's do some research real quick. How much does the hospitality gross in America? Let's see what it says. Hotel room, okay? It says in the United States, the U.S. hotel industry generated $218 billion in revenue, but did decline significantly during 2020. It says indirectly, the hospitality industry of the U.S. is said to have generated close to $1 trillion in revenue. That's close to 20% of global direct revenue. So they contribute up almost to 20% of global revenue, because for one thing, hospitality, like it's a convenience. You can't have a hotel without food. Okay, you can't have baseball games. Like a lot of times, if you are like a particular sports fan, a lot of times you have what they call customers, or fans, they will travel and they will follow their favorite teams. So when you go to these different cities, like this is why they're building Kansas City up so much. Like you want to go to Worlds of Fun or any tourist attraction because you may be in town for the weekend, because let's say the Chicago Bears may be playing against the Kansas City Chiefs. So therefore, in that aspect, hospitality goes up, okay? Because you're going to stay, you're going to get a hotel, you know, and definitely you're going to do some dining and you're going to be shopping. Tourist attractions, right? So that's how they make their money. But also, how much does the restaurant shit. 94% of diners in the restaurant reviews online before going. The U.S. restaurant industry made $898 billion. That's almost $1 trillion in sales over 2022, up 166.5 billion from 2021. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got people what they call therapy shopping. A lot of times when people are stressed out, they go therapy shopping. They either binge watching shows and eating, and they're spending all their money on shit to make them feel better temporarily, or they do the opposite. You know, they intoxicate with drugs. Okay, but it says that the industry is over 76.5 billion US dollars. So if you add that 1 trillion to this 898 billion, you have well over almost 2 trillion something dollars in hospitality and sales. So it makes sense as to why these people are literally bugging out, because, you know, this is a lucrative industry. And if you have no place for these particular workers, then they're going to lose a lot of revenue, man. You know, and you don't have to pay a robot to do a job. Okay, the money you bring in is basically the whole account of you fixing up your equipment, and you bringing forth new equipment and you upgrading. But even then, you know, people will start to flock to these venues, because the more money these particular establishments make, the more sophisticated the equipment get and the more convenience to service. Okay, because a robot ain't gonna call off sick on a Monday, you know, when you have a lunch rush. You know, you ain't got to get an AI robot 40 hours of PTO time at the beginning of his hire date versus an actual human being, man. People are demanding, look, we only working 4 days a week. We want 2 weeks and a $10,000 sign-on bonus. You know, and people are demanding that shit, which they have every right to do so, because this is a slave-driven culture, you know. But it says represents 60,000 service hospitality workers in Las Vegas and Reno. But later this year, it hopes to have a new negotiated contract that include protections against AI replacing jobs. And that's the crazy part about it is you would think that these people will be in some form of fashion to get a break, but these people are slave driven because they're tracing that American quote unquote dream, you know. But it says we had a huge fight about tech in our previous contract, and we're going to have the same fight this time around, Ted Papageorge, the Secretary Treasurer of the UN, told the NPR. It says in his last contract in 2018, the union pushed for companies to agree to a 6-month warning for workers for new technology introduced in the workplace, as well as a free training on how to use new technology. It says with the precise impact of AI on service work is not yet clear. It says the union is prepared to make AI an issue to strike over when it negotiates a new contract. Okay, so people are getting ready to go crazy because they feel like, well, look, we're being replaced. Like it says, AI and machines can't replace the human touch. The worker's saying that's absolutely right. But at the end of the day, if they can cut costs and they don't have to pay people as much money, then they don't give a damn. They'll fucking put a robot in there to replace your ass, man. Especially if you don't want to do the job. This is all part of the fourth industrial revolution. This is all part of the technocracy. This is all part of this economy pretty much going to shit. Because to be honest with you, you know, when they paying you in Federal Reserve notes, that money ain't worth a damn thing, man. Okay, so I got like 2 scriptures here, and that'll be it. But Isaiah 19:14, it says, Yahweh have mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggering in his vomit. Okay, and this is nothing more but a perverse spirit, because Esau Edom playing God on the left-hand side is basically using AI as his ultimate control factor as to playing God, man. Okay? And they showed you that in the new Mission Impossible movie. Basically, AI is basically an unbeatable enemy. Okay? AI was modeled after the model of the Most High, which you can't model or anything close to replicate Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. But this was an all-ever being, and you couldn't defeat the program. They called it the one being or something like that, which basically they were talking about the Most High. But this whole AI, which you can't really put your hand on, is all around you. Okay? It exists within the realm of existence through smartphones, computers, video games, people. Like, you got fucking robocalls, people calling you on your phone sounding like your mother, saying, I'm in a jam, send me $500 for my rent. And the whole time you sending your money to a goddamn tech company, man. So that's a perverse spirit, man. And it says, in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof. Because as clever as this may sound, it all is going to turn around and it's going to bite Esau in the ass. You know, like the scriptures say, he should be casted, roughly paraphrasing it, he should be taken by his own devices. Because these are typical Edomites complaining about AI. Okay, you don't really see Jake really getting into it. Jake just want a paycheck, so he go buy him a PS5, smoke some weed, have some drink, and buy some Jordans. That's all a nigga want to do, man. All right, Jake don't give a damn about no goddamn tech companies, man. They don't care about that because Jake don't be want to work half the time anyway. All right, but it says, neither should there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail or branch or rush may do. Okay, because, hey, we're coming into a whole global collapse. And when all hell break loose and things attempt to get back into running order, you're going to have a lot of jobs that's going to disappear, and a lot of them going to be ran by AI. And they know that a lot of people is not going to comply with getting the MOTB, you know, so therefore they're going to have things to replace people temporarily. Though majority of the people will consent based out of fear and necessity. All right. But it says, neither should there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail or branch or rush may do. And in that day shall Egypt be like unto women, and they should be afraid and fear because the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it. Okay. So right now we're getting ready to see a topple of this economy and these strikes, and people are complaining about jobs, and you know the rent is getting ready to go up another 2%. Like Kansas City have a 16.17% hike rate within a year. That's the hugest hike rate in the nation. Because like I said, I've seen rents go up 3 different times within 1 year here in Kansas City. Like one apartment I was going to get was this price, and then 4 months later, they even fucking marked that shit up a 500%. I'm like, well, I'm glad I didn't move there, but you get the point. All right. One last precept, Daniel 4, and I'm going to start at Daniel 12 and 4. But thou, Daniel, shut up the words and sealed the book, even to the time of the end, that many should run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased, man, okay? And this new technological age, everything is ran through AI, man, okay, which is Esau's new god. But I'm going to end it there, giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. And with that, Shalom and Abba Shalom.